That's weird. My StreamYard's kind of being a little latent. I think all of my internet is being a little latent. That's okay. It's totally normal. We've got everything calmed down. It's a Saturday night. It's a night before the Super Bowl. And I'm hoping that all of you that join me in the Gypsy Tribe or that join me online, if you are interested in prophetic magic, that you will send me your thoughts for tomorrow and that you will join me in some of the cool online banter that we are going to be having that talks about like maybe what to expect and maybe what to see and what who's going to win and what the score is going to be. Some people have a lot of money on it. So I don't have any money on it. So that allows me to have, I think, a little bit more of a prophetic vision. I think when you have money on it, it changes the energy. But how are you guys doing tonight? What are you doing tonight? Tell me in the chat room, give me a little hello. Let me know you're here so that my chat is working, that I know that you see me and that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is everything okay? Is there anybody out there? Normal coffee. I don't know. Sometimes I kind of like to let the comments come and go, and then some destinations won't get comments. Learn more. Show up on StreamYard. Bum, 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 bum. It says they will. I'll say hello. There, I said hello. Now I can see that. I don't know. I can't see any comments right now, so hopefully. Oh, that was myself. Anyway, I just want to be sure that I can get your questions because tonight, you guys, I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of a mini session for you. There's Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly. I see you. I see you. I'm going to be doing a little bit of an NLP session. So I get this question a lot. If you are at all interested in the Gypsy Tribe, if you're wondering what it is that NLP or what it is that I do or what it is that we take forensic psychology and how we apply that to magic or like how we apply that to the learning of things in the paranormal. I think a lot of it is language. And so for me and NLP, language is so key. And I want to always go into definitions. I'm always kind of listening like a fly on the wall to what people are saying. And I want to ask you guys to join me tonight in just a really brief discussion because this is something that we talk about in my online coven and forums with the paranormal and parapsychological spaces is two words that are used interchangeably. I see them used a lot. I see them misused a lot. And I just am asking for people to maybe take a second to think about that space, think about what it means, think about, how they use their language. Think about what it is that they are actually saying when they speak, especially in the paranormal. I know that that's kind of important. And these two words are, so I'm going to ask you, and if you will join me in the comments, it'll help me out a lot for research purposes. If I were to ask you to define the word, because that's what neurolinguistic programming is, right? Being able to break down the words, being able to break down the cognitive process for each little thing. But if I were to break down the word gateway, how would you define it? If you were thinking of gateway, a gateway, a gateway. Who, what, when, where, why. That's usually what I'm encouraging students to do as I mentor. But what else? What do you think of? This space right here, before we ever talk about what the definition is, before we discuss it, before you ask someone, this moment, what is that? How do I define it? What is it? To write it down, to write those notes down. A gateway. So then, of course, you go to, with neurolinguistic programming, it's always important to go to the dictionary because regardless of how you might define it, you have to kind of look to, right, the agreed upon terminology. You look at the etymology. You look at what it means. Now, it could be a piece of networking hardware, telecommunications. It's an interesting word. Hi, Rose. Hi, Kimberly. But it's also a noun, I love when I'm looking at neurolinguistic programming because if it's a noun, that makes it a person, place, or thing. That usually makes it earth magic. I know that right away. So if you do earth magic or you're familiar with sacred geometry or alchemy and earth magic, earth magic is where we're at. You want to understand gateway and door and the magic paranormal language there, even spiritual language, telecommunications language, what pill you're taking, so to speak. The definition of gateway is very important. Could be a building, an opening that can be closed. Hmm, 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 hmm. That can be closed by a gate. So it can be closed. It's not always open. So that presents something quite important. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Robin. Hi, Amanda. Tell me again, guys. Think about this, right? This wording is important. It's also a frame or arch built over a gateway, a door, a frame, an arch, a means of access, entry or exit to and from a place. Ooh, so that it can be open or closed, it's in or out. Interesting. There's kind of a movement of energy here. And there's some really important words that I want to mention. So Kimberly says time and space, opening. Now, perfect, Kimberly, because again, that language, time and space, that's earth magic. Earth is time and space. That's your past. That's anchors. That's mile markers. That's physical seeds. That's this. And a gateway, right? First thing is it open or not? Where is it? Ooh. And taking note of these certain things. When a paranormal case comes along and someone says, there's this thing and I just kind of feel like there's this sense of like maybe it's this like gateway, like this gateway to another dimension, or like, that anytime I'm walking through the doorway, anytime I walk through, it's just like something is coming in or out. You can hear the language that you start already kind of placing little check marks in this neurolinguistic programming space, right? Hello, Ken. Welcome, another famous paranormal investigator and jazz musician. Blues. I always think of just all sorts of music. Ken, what don't you play? Um, but then in the definition, there's access. So if it's closed, you walk up to a gate. Now think about this. You walk up to a gateway in any situation. If you aren't 100% sure who built it, if you didn't build it, you need to, right, Chloe? You need to know who put it here. Whose property is this? Whose does this belong? You're looking around. No trespassing. Shoot. Okay. Is there a key? Do you have a key? If it's open and there's no sign, the lack of information, it kind of implies that you can enter. It kind of already puts some pre-suggestion in there. It already tells you a lot about the space, yes or no, how you feel going in or out. And also, if in that space, you usually have two types of people. You have a person that when you go listen, you don't necessarily have permission. Are you going to enter? And they say, well, no permission is permission, right? It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Or someone that says, I can't, I can't. I can't. If we don't have permission, I just don't feel comfortable. It's like kind of that the sandlot moment. Who's going to be the deviant person? Who's going to be the person that goes through that gateway? So there's a lot of water energy here as well. Feelings, intentions, intuition, connection, permission, and key. Who has the key? What is the key? Key. Don't forget to look up what the definition of a key is. Because though we might always think of a key or like a skeleton key, the definition implies quite a little bit more. And access and permission, whether or not you feel that you can just have it or not by telling yourself yes or no. This is very important. Whether or not someone is going to have guilt or not, this is like Atreyu walking through the gateway. This is that Christian, do you have permission? It's really going to come from your ability to be at peace within. It's earth water. That's yin energy. So in alchemy, this is earth water magic. This is Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces kind of energy. This is so much of what, when we're looking at the words, even if someone's feeling a certain way, if they're feeling judgment, if they're struggling, if they're having nightmares, if they're, the same time and same things showing up, this is very indicative of a gateway. And lastly, think about the place and variables. When you have a gateway, there's this sense of whether it's physically, spiritually, both, emotionally, and or all. You think, you know what, here I am. And once I go through this gateway, I'll be here. Maybe you're going to be different. Maybe you're going to be a different space. Maybe you're going to be learning something new. Whatever this space is, there's kind of this, you're taking a risk. You're adding a variable. There's before and there's after. So that gateway, it's a process that's happening from the beginning to the destination. And in a gateway, if you're someone who's a tech person and like into coding and things like that, a gateway and hardware and in networking, this is important to know your destination. If you don't know where you're going, the lesson won't really be able to truly be learned, right? It's that transmutation process that's really important, and the introspection required for being able to do extroverted magic and leading, right? So this is kind of a cool space, but then how is that different than the word that's like fingers and thumbs, thumbs and fingers, but that you hear them interchangeably used all the time in the paranormal, all the time. Sometimes it gets a little frustrating for me in the NLP phrase because I sit back and if it's misused, it can misdirect someone unconsciously. You don't even realize it, like in a lecture or something like that. In a paranormal case, it's really nice to have someone speak this way because they're going to tell you a lot about what's going on, right, Ruth? And this is a completely different energy, completely different, but same. Same, but different. Fingers and thumbs, thumbs and fingers, guys. Portal. Portal. Originally French. Portal. Portal. Neutral. This is, I want you to take a second and think about this. What is the definition? When you think, what is the definition for you? Don't cheat. Thumbs up. Right? I always like to look at synonyms too whenever I'm taking a moment to do NLP. Ruth says, I'm really trying to learn about this. Good. This is, when we're talking about magic or spirituality or breaking things down into alchemy, this is a lot of what we do in the Gypsy tribe and a lot of NLP, whether it's clinically or with mental health, being able to apply it to magic and also be able to apply it to the paranormal, I think is really important. They're very, very similar. They're very one and the same. And portal, computing, believe it or not, it's actually sometimes used in anatomy, similar to a doorway or a gateway or an entrance, but it is not just a doorway or a gate, but it is known for kind of two connotations, that it might be imposing. It's not necessarily, it's imposing. And also that it is more, not so much of an opening, but also an exit. That a portal is, once you kind of go through it, you may not be able to come back. It's a little different. With gateways, it seems like there's a time and space, earth magic. With portals, It's more of an air, a spoken thing, or a fire, something that just it's there and then it's gone. Like also the second definition. Think of how important this is, because I think when you see the second definition and the paranormal, you think, oh, this is makes perfect sense. A website or web page that provides access for links to other sites. So it's like a threshold space, right? This egress space for other information to come to it, like a spider web. And this is really, really important because in alchemy, if you're going to something, this is air. This is a reference to air because it is how do you know what you know? Like if you're Google, you're going to out into discussing something or validating something or an invocation or whispering of something, not just a space with a key and a hole and this kind of, thing, but more of an imposing, like air, like light. People think portal, sometimes it's described as light, whereas gateway, it's more of an arch, an architectural type thing. And portal, it's more of an energy, like a website that it's asking you or making you wonder, is this real? Will I ever return? Permission, it isn't even like usually people are never implied that there is a judgment or permission. It's usually a fear of, are you going to just do it or not? Which implies, again, a real space for fire. That's the Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. Once you're in air and you have something validated, it's very quick moving. You can't undo it. And think about this. So think about like nude pictures or something. This goes out on the internet, or you put something out on the internet, and it is not necessarily going to be trustworthy. People aren't going to know for sure the integrity of it, but it is going to damage your integrity, but you can't undo something. And so think about this on the paranormal, the power of a portal, because we kind of are imagining this in an air and fire space, that how do you undo it? Or how do I close a portal? Or, oh my gosh, we invoked a spirit and we were doing a Ouija board and had an incantation and something opened, and now, all this stuff is just flowing through like an internet website, and I don't know how to shut it down. How do I shut it off? How do I shut it off? Well, how do you shut something down like that on a website? Kind of think about it in this space. You unplug it. Yeah, but what's done is done. Absolutely. But like in air, if you just don't give it any attention, you stop talking about it. Well, what do you mean? Do you mean that you could be having a paranormal location that just because you talk about it and just because it becomes this haunted basement with a portal to hell, that now it's a portal? And that now people go here to have an experience or go here to talk about something and are wondering whether it's real or not. And we can't necessarily undo the attention it is, but it's imposing. And it's just kind of this one space that seems to come as it goes and has its own little energy. And it's just kind of like a website space. That would imply air or fire. It would imply definitely a certain type of energy. It's not demonic. It's not in any way, shape, or form. The negative energy that it gives us is in reference to air and just what that can do to a person's integrity, how it makes us question our reality. The fact that if you're feeding it and you're unsure of the source, you're associated with something you're unsure of. Whereas a gateway, something with a key, something that makes you judge yourself, something like the pearly gates to heaven, an archway that you have to choose to walk through, that you have to decide if you have permission. You have to determine the guilt of where you're going, where you've been. Can you close a gateway? Can you lock it? How did you go through it? Is it like the wardrobe with Narnia? Is it just a one way in and one way out? How does this work? Um, I think in magic, it does get interesting if you go back and do that deductive work like we do in the paranormal, and you determine where the source is. If you have information about the access, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and you are listening to the information and listening to the feelings that it gives people, the way the information is moving. Oh, at the same time every night, the same time every night, the same thing happening, and I'm feeling this way. You can already start to kind of differentiate and contain what types of energy it is. And then it weaves itself. You don't even have to do anything. It's like that movie. What was that movie where the stuff just kind of was woven into the fabric and they were shooting guns? Wanted. I love having a really smart husband just calls out into the ether. It's like having Google. It's really great. Wanted. It's like that. It just kind of you don't even have to be like, I know this. It just shows itself. And the language lets you do it. And you kind of follow the space and you follow the attention. You decide whether or not you want to give it attention, or you decide within yourself, where are you going and how are you using this, and do you have permission or not? And can become it can become separate from spirituality. It can become a less fearful thing. It can be something that someone can actually understand and begin to break down and deduce, which gives them a little bit of power and understanding. And information is, in my opinion, never a bad thing. So I like to have as much information as possible. It gives us choices. So at least in my experience in forensics, it's nice to have the more information, the better. So you guys, I want to just kind of throw this out there to you. Whenever you have experienced something, whether it be in the paranormal or spiritual space, or even maybe you're an architect or you're an artist, or you're just somebody tuning in randomly, I'm interested in how you define gateway and how you define portal. And if you kind of see the difference when I share them like this, and I'm showing you my earth, water, air, fire, and the language, and how the movement works, how we go through one and out of the other. If this makes sense, what you think about this, how you feel, or what thoughts and opinions you have, and also maybe what information you would give. Kimberly talks about like the flexible and the mobility of it. Robin says, gosh, for me, it's more of a boat. So a portal makes me think of a window and seeing something. So seeing something, I love that because it could be fire. It could be how you do things, that you are a visual person. Most of us are visual people. Windows to the soul, gateway to the soul, doorway to the soul, portal. Is it just one way? Is it just an escape? Is it just an exit? What does it make you think of? All of these words, I think they're really important indicators as we talk with people, whether or not it's just like a paranormal case or not. I just find it really, really fascinating. So I want to ask you, for those of you joining me, what your thoughts are. Send those to me, direct message to me. Ask the people that you're in a group with or coven with, and let me know what you learn. So for the rest of you, how about let's go through some oracle cards. Now, these are a little bit more difficult. I know a lot of you joining me are wanting a free reading, so it is Saturday. I'll go ahead and give you a free reading before I jump off here. I've got my coffee. Is it cold yet? Hold on. Yeah, it's almost cold. Pooh, that's okay. It's so cold here in Minnesota. It was negative 12 degrees last time I looked. I think it might be colder than that now. It's very, very frigid. So it's like all the windows are frosted over, and it's just kind of, we're here. I'm in here doing crafts, and I'm going to have my music going and probably brew a little bit more coffee. And the husband and I are going to watch Vikings. We're trying to catch up on that still. And it's just going to be one of those nights where we try and stay warm and keep our energy calm and live through and count our blessings. Because I think, how do people, the homeless right now in Minneapolis, there are so many homeless people in Minnesota after 2020. There are so many homeless people after all of those riots and all of those fires and all of that Section 8 housing went down and all the charities were moved. They were moved the year before because of the Super Bowl. Like, how are those people functioning with the mask mandates when you can't have people within 6 feet of each other? Think about this, guys. If you've not thought about this, the volunteering stations, the soup kitchens, these places have been closed because of the mask mandates and because of the COVID. So like the hot food, cold drinks, Project Uplift, all of these places have been on standby. If you don't have a drive up ability to come and get your food, then you don't. And if you can't be outside for more than 10 minutes before your skin freezes, you got to be in a city. And ice right now is so heavy in Minneapolis. It's just a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Anyway, I don't have to worry about that. I think about it every 8 minutes probably, but I don't have to, and I'm trying not to. Anyway, the Oracle deck that I am using tonight. Now, Oracle decks are different than tarot decks, guys. An Oracle deck can be about anything it wants. It can be like prayer cards. It could be angel cards, tree cards. I mean, there are Oracle decks, about anything. Like Nightmare Before Christmas, flowers, skeletons, stars. It doesn't matter. So this, I like Alice in Wonderland. Lewis Carroll. I like the Cheshire Cat. I really liked Alice, the game. But because it's an Oracle deck, I don't have it memorized. So I'm going to pull some of these cards for you guys. If you would like an Oracle deck, let me know. I'll pull a card. I'm not going to look at the book. I'm just going to kind of go and wing it. I've not used this in a while. So I'm just going to give it to you. But if you'd like me to pull you an Oracle card, let me know. I might just pull one for all of us for tonight. And also because I'm doing the astrology here in a bit, to be posting on my Patreon and to be posting for the Gypsy Tribe. We do that astrology every single day, guys. We try and use it and go through the shadow work. Ken says, yep, pull one for me. Okay, Ken. Ooh, this is a really interesting point. So this Oracle deck, it's designed by taking a moment throughout the whole book. So if you're familiar with the story, there's a part where the Queen of Hearts, she's really pissed, and she's discussing with Alice that, you're hopping through this forest and you're late for a very important date chasing after this rabbit, and you never stop throughout the entire thing and enjoy the jam. And there's this phrase, jam, jam, never jam today. It's the second scene of the tea party in the forest. And this is the promises that never come to be, empty words, not living in the now, Ken. So never jam today. The importance that, gosh, we're planning for this, we're planning for that, we're rescheduling, we're making this happen, we're doing that, we're putting this back, we're rescheduling this. And it's really important at some point to just determine, you know what? I've got to do this today. I've got to stop, drop, and eat my cake right now. Because whether it's grief or it's a humble reminder that life is short, we can do all the things that we love in our head and fantasize and plan and promise and yodel and all of that. But what we do right now is who we are. And so being able to take that moment, it's very powerful. I love the pictures too, right? She's so cute. All the pictures in this deck, this Oracle deck, are very, very pretty. They're very colorful. They're very sweet. They're very tasty. They're very well illustrated, I think. I don't know if I have anyone joining me on Facebook. I bet I do. And if I do, I apologize if I'm not seeing your comments as quickly. I see Ruth and Chloe and everybody there in the same spaces that I see the StreamYard, and I see the YouTube comments. So I'm trying to be fair. And you've got YouTube that comes in, and then you've got Facebook that comes in. So if you're like, who in the heck is she talking about? I'm seeing Ken Valdez. If you don't know who Ken Valdez is, then you guys should definitely go check him out. He's a very gifted musician. And by the way, somebody who I really love photographing. I don't even want to say how long it's been since we did that photo shoot of you and your guitar, but people love those photos I took of your guitar and you, and we need to do another photo session. So yes, Kimberly goes, I love the art on that cards. Yes, Kimberly, let's pull one for you. Kimberly, let's pull a card for you. Boom. Talk about beautiful art on these cards. You're going to want to go get it and get a copy. This is number 37. So it goes to number 42 it's either 42 or 45. I think it might be 40. I'm going to say 42. Gosh dang it. I'm not sure how high it goes. 45. I'm going to have to find out. Anyway, this is number 37. Nature communication, Kimberly. Flower energy, fairy energy. Elemental messengers. These are the creepy, crawly, cool leprechauns, fairies, whimsical pixies, nymphs, and sirens of the elemental realm. How beautiful this card is. I think that elementals and goblins and fairies and pixies and all of that, like Jem Henson type beauty, so important to keep alive. Is it real? Absolutely. Talk about the timing of like back when I was taking pictures of Ken. I was also exploring the underbelly of the Stone Arch area in Minneapolis with my husband, and we were underneath in the tunnels with a friend of ours. He's now dead. Rest in peace, Kurt. And he was really fun. He took us into all of these really cool old caverns and caves, and he was wild and weird. He was an ex-military outdoorsman, self-sufficient survival guide. He used to take people out to go hunt wolves. Crazy. But anyway, he went out and fed the fairies. And he made fairy houses in retirement. Talk about talk about being like, sure, Kurt. Sure. You talk with fairies. That's cute. What was that? No, really, what was that? Your fairies? And you start taking pictures and you get stuff. And just really cool. And so he shared a lot of his experience and stories and photos, and then he passed away. And so I know that he's in the spirit realm, has all the answers now. But man, he made me think not even twice, but 1,200 times about fairies, not just ghosts, but all sorts of cool things. He was an old dude too, like an old hobbit. I don't know what it is about old men when they get those beards and become like Merlin in their old age. They just become like the old women crones that become these old witches of the forest that should live in a gingerbread house and eat children. The men become like wizards that should talk to snails and things, like the guy in the Lord of the Rings. It's kind of cool. Anyway, if there's anyone else that would like an oracle card, let me know. I will pull one for you really quickly, and then I will jump off and finish my Patreon and my readings for the evening. And don't forget, guys, if you want a reading, if you want a private reading, if you want a reading special, I've got some really cool Saturday reading specials right now. They're $11. And you can pay either Venmo or PayPal. So you can check that out, or you can do my 3-card reading special. Ruth says, I would like one. Yes. And then Renee. So Ruth. Nonsense, Ruth. Number 28. It's time to talk some sense. This shows the Queen of Hearts looking over Alice, and Alice is like, oh, snap. And this is that part where she is in the courtroom and the Queen is interrogating her and she's being asked these ridiculous questions, and the questions don't even make any sense. And it's like they're doing what we would expect due process, but it's completely random and ridiculous and nonsense. And it is absolute nonsense. It's time to talk some sense. I love how important this is for what we were just talking about for air energy, that portal space. The fact that whenever you start speaking something or you engage in something, what's that advice you always give me about arguing with stupid people? Brandon? Oh, he doesn't hear me. If you argue with stupid people out in public, passerbys won't know the difference, or something like that. Something wise. It's much more wise when he says it. But I think about that because I, the Virgo, really struggle to keep my mouth shut. And I'm always looking at how people are able to be silent and patient. My dad's an exaggerator and a storyteller. My mom was an argumentative person. I was in debate. I was always told, and I'm in radio, dead air is bad air. Right now, in Aquarius season, void, silence. Air magic. It's very, very powerful. It's very important. So knowing how to only speak in a certain way, knowing how to manipulate it and understand it, it's going to get you the direct focus and manifestation that you want. Don't talk about anything other than the real. Okay. And then Renee says, could you please pull one for me? Ooh, this one's really cool and pretty. And again, the Cheshire Cat in this deck is really freaky and weird looking. Number 33, I want to be a queen. Stating your sovereignty, declaring freedom, passing the test. This is very important for, gosh, in this part of the book, she's learning how to overcome the queen at this point. This is like the post court. This is the post nonsense. And this is the, you know what, if you got to beat them, you might have to, if you can't beat them, join them. But then once you join them, lead them, right? It's, I want to be the queen. I want to be a queen. Declaring your freedom from whatever it is that's holding you down or holding you back or giving you that obstacle, Renee, that's giving you the struggles. Knowing that you can move back the lines in the sand, you can redetermine the rules, you can set the guidelines for your own life, and you can be the authority that you need to. It's kind of a powerful card, right? I really, really like the colors. I like how her hair kind of flows into the mountainscape. It's kind of like a dolly almost, how it kind of melts into the colors and into the background. I really love it. I like the oranges and the yellows. Usually I don't like those colors. It reminds me of my childhood carpet and walls that were painted bright yellow. But it's kind of cool. Amanda, do you mind pulling a card for me? I don't mind. Amanda, thank you for asking, because you've got to have permission, right? Permission is so important. Like we were talking with gateways and doors. If you have permission and someone says, yeah, sure, come on in. It's really, really important. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're capable and able and that you are capable and are going to be all right. So Amanda, let's pull a card for, whoa, man, that card jumped. It's a wild one. I'm sorry that this immediately makes me sing a song. Shine bright like a diamond. That's not really singing. That's kind of making fun of it, but shine bright like a diamond. This is number 36. Shine bright like a candle. You will make it through this, Amanda. And look at how beautiful this is. Right? Playing on that very famous painting, The Starry Night. So beautiful. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love the reflections in the water, the blues and the yellows. Be that light source. Know that you're going to be able to endure. Knowing that right now might be a really disturbing space, like that Van Gogh. You might feel like you're going crazy or being stretched, but these reflections, these reverberations, this echo chamber, this space, it's really Aquarius. It's really a strong space. It's turbulent. You will endure. You will make it through. You will make it through this. Okay. I like that card. I think it's really pretty. Renee, it's a beautiful card. I can relate to it. It's so absolutely what's going on for me right now. Ruth, oh my God, this is so Renee. Everyone said these cards are really relating to you. I'm so glad. Sarah, hello, happy Saturday. Could I get a card, please? Yes, Sarah K. Let's pull a card for you. This is kind of in the beginning of, don't let this Sorry, I've been up for like a day and a half. Don't let that be, oh, you probably did it anyway. You know, they say it's a measure of empathy if you yawn when someone else yawns. So if you just yawned, that means you're not a horrible person. Anyway, number 18. No need to fear, Sarah. Remember how powerful you are. This is the part in the book in Alice in Wonderland when she's kind of interacting with the walrus and learning that, oh my gosh, I'm in this like weird ass place. What's going on? Have I taken, I mean, I know I ate mushrooms, but am I dying? It's like that point of paranoia and whoa, take a moment. No need to fear. Calm yourself. Even though you're sitting on a weird ass fish and the birds are talking to you and the flowers are speaking to you and there's fish coming out of the air and weird stuff's going on, you look good. You look great. And you are powerful and you are capable and you've got some tights on. You can do this. So this is just, I love the reds and the golden browns, the hues, the way that the light kind of reflects off of the horizon line and just the weird imagery. No need to fear. I think this is really important right now for anybody doing like the CE5, the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, Dr. Steve Greer, any of the people working in the divergent space or the crazy conspiracy spaces or just the recovery space or the great reset or whatever you want to call it. Aquarius, the astrological space. February is opportunity, but it also is adjustment. And if you don't have any fear, that is like the best thing you can do. A lot of people asking like, what can I do? What's the best thing I can do? What can I do? Don't have any fear. And I think that whether you're Christian or you're Wiccan or you're nothing, that is really good advice that is preached and is recommended and is given, and it's wisdom to not have fear in your heart. It's not good for your health. So that's really important this month. And for this month in the Gypsy Tribe, we are learning about love. We're talking about the 8 different frequencies of love. We're talking about love, self-love, giving love, sharing love, how you give and receive love, love languages, all sorts of different things. And I'm really excited and honored to be doing a caregiver lecture for people that are working with wounded warriors and that are caregivers for people who've served our country and that need to and want to take time to invest in themselves to learn some more about love and their love language and how to love themselves and others a little bit more. So you guys, if that's something you are interested in or you'd like a reading in or around that kind of realm, don't forget to check out the Patreon or my website, paranormalsarah.com. Deb, welcome. You're very welcome, Amanda. And Sarah, you're welcome. Both of you, thank you. You're welcome. I love this deck, you guys. I think most decks, most oracle decks, any deck, that's what divination is for. It doesn't matter what you're using. You're getting information from the divine. And if your intention is to get information that's helpful, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to hear, and that's what you're going to use it, or how you'll use it. I had a question come in today to my website that was, what exactly is a psychic reading for? I've never gotten one. I don't know what is it supposed to be? And I thought, that's actually a really interesting question. And I think it's a really important one to maybe ask if you have zero experience with it. That for me, I kind of give it the analogy of like a brochure if you're coming to a new state or you're going to like a new amusement park, like Branson or something, that you stop by a welcome center and you get that little brochure. It gives you the highlights and it tells you the pros and cons. It tells you the history. It kind of tells you, this is what's going on and you can do this and you can do that. Oh, and here's a coupon. You don't have to do any of it. You can throw that damn brochure in the trash. You can put your gum in it. You can step on it. You can not even pick one up. It does not matter. Or you can use it like a tea and have a great time and hand it to someone else and say, here, go do this. And they can have a very similar experience. Or you can loosely use the information, use a coupon or not. Take it if you want it. If you don't like people and you don't want crowds, or you really like crab legs and you love Dolly Parton, like use it as a piece of information for you to get what you want out of it. And a psychic reading is really only meant to be that. It's intuitive information that's helpful, accurate, relevant. Hopefully, that's a sign of a good psychic, but helpful. That's really up to you. So it's not meant to be anything that's like, you're going to die in 8 days. It's nothing like that. That's horrific and absolutely not. But is it used to be able to give you information of like how to really squeeze the best out of your life experiences coming up in the future? If you've got something coming up or you're wanting some additional guidance? Yes. And so you can also gift those for gift certificates as well. I just had someone ask, can you give gift certificates? Yes, you can. So, very good question. Amanda, her readings are spot on. You've had two. Oh, thank you. I love spot on. That's always a good testimonial. I love testimonials. I think whenever I'm doing psychic readings, I want it to be accurate, relevant, and helpful. Accurate, relevant, and helpful. So that's how I work whenever I'm mentoring other people or we're doing the Patreon and I'm doing my classes. Those are the goals that we're going for. Accurate, relevant, and helpful. Ruth, can I get a reading for my daughter? Absolutely. Let's pull one for your daughter. Ooh. This is a really good card right now because of what we talked about in our last live session, where we talked about the difference between the words binding and banishing. That's something that we're working on in the Gypsy tribe this month, and I'm doing a lot of different spells for. Do I have one laying over here that I just finished? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Never mind. But binding and banishing and the difference of those, how to use those in magic, how to understand the difference of those. And remember what we talked about with binding, the definition of binding, how to bind, how to use binding magic. Binding is a way of constraining. And so whatever it is that your mind goes to, this card is number 6, choices. This is like when Alice found herself being really concerned with the fact that she couldn't fit through the door and she was going to either have to drink me, drink me, eat me. There's all this fluctuation. There was this space of you're going to have to choose whether or not you want to do this or not, and then just go this way or not. It's not, you can't just keep playing the hokey pokey going back and forth, but you definitely are at a crossroads for major choices. This is the number 6 for choices. It says feeling blocked or feeling restrained. You see Alice, she's sitting here, she's exhausted, these beautiful reds and then light blues, like beautiful robin's egg blue and that Christmas dark red. Chief's red, red kingdom. Yeah. Anyway, and this is Alice in that space of really needing to be able to be clear of, gosh, I'm making these choices and which one do I do? The most important thing, as often, and bless his soul, he's dead now, right? But my mentor, one of that I really enjoyed, Dr. Dave Alexander, one of my very first classes with him in my undergrad, he said, I need a volunteer and come up here and try and take this from me. Try and take it. Go on. Try and take it. Go on. Try and take it. Reach out. Go on. Take it. 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 Try. Keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying. And he's like, it's like Yoda says. You can sit there and watch somebody try all day long. That is not doing. And there's a difference. You're either doing it or you're trying to do it. Stop trying. Stop trying. Make the choice. Stop trying to choose and choose. Write it down, and either it'll be a mistake. That's cool. You can learn from it. Go back and do the other choice, or make the choice and it's the right one. If you're not feeling like there's a lot of intuition right now to go on, then air, because we're in Aquarius, it's asking other people, it's trying to get advice, being sure, like, well, where did that come from? Where did this happen? All of this kind of information is helpful, but ultimately you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to choose, and that's going to be what gets you into the next space. If you're wondering why you haven't gotten into the next space, it's because you need to choose. So it's about being at a crossroads to making a big life decision, and that the important thing is to know that it is a good one and you're thinking about it, but that ultimately you have to choose. And the risk and reward aren't always correlative or connected even to each other, but sometimes that's just life. And that's what I'll say with that. That's what I'll say with that. So Ruth, hopefully that finds your daughter well and that makes sense. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Every time you guys share these or you tag a friend or you invest in a reading, I really appreciate it. Tomorrow morning, if the car starts, I told my husband he has to work, but I'm going to go out and get a coffee and go buy a few things for some soup and for the Super Bowl, and then come in and stay in and prepare for readings throughout the week. And any readings that get purchased tonight will go for that. They will go to my Super Bowl fund. So if you are interested in investing in a reading, an Alice in Wonderland reading, or a mushroom tarot card, that is what you're going to see on my website, paranormalsarah.com. And you guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Saturday night, whatever it is that you're doing, spending an hour with me. I really appreciate it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that this finds you well. And again, if you guys had some insight into my gateway and portal discussion, or if you wanted a reading or you had any other questions for me, do not hesitate to ask. Send me an email, let me know, and I will talk with you guys later. Bye bye. Have a good night.